Have you faced a difficult time and started to question God? Maybe you started something new and it didn't turn out how you wanted to, and you turned away from it. You quit because you thought it was a sign from God telling you that it wasn't for you. This video is for you. Welcome back to the Abundant Behavior Podcast. I'm your host, Ali Banks. On my channel, I like to bring faith and business and combine it all on one platform. You know, they say that the biggest gap in the world is between knowing and doing. And the reason a lot of people don't execute is simply because they lack knowledge in certain areas. What I like to do on my platform is I like to bring various entrepreneurs from different walks of life, different endeavors, bring them on my platform, let them give you guys a few gems from their journey, and hopefully it helps you get to your destination a little bit faster. But today we have Word Wednesday. And on Word Wednesday, I like to give you guys something from the Bible, something I've been meditating on for the few days. Give it to you guys, and hopefully it grows you guys spiritually close to God. Today's title is going to be Adversity is a Blessing. And everybody goes through adversity. And I like to look up definitions. And so when I looked up adversity, it simply said difficulties or misfortunes. And I know a lot of you listening to this right now, you like, why would it be a blessing in a difficulty or a misfortune? Difficulty or misfortune sometimes leads to correction. So if this leads to correction, this is something that everybody needs to go through. Difficulties and misfortunes that lead to correction. So you can have adversity in anything. Maybe it's a new sport that you decided to pick up and you thought you were going to be so good at it, but you sucked. But you knew if you just kept putting the work in, you probably get better. You just need to put the reps in, you probably get better. And that's with anything. Or maybe it's you just decide to jump into content creator, but your content doesn't look good as everybody else's. So you taking it as a sign that God didn't tell you to do this, and so you stop. It can be anything. It can be starting a new friendship or relationship with a person, and you allowed the enemy to sneak up in your head and start telling you a bunch of different things. And so out of self-sabotage, you ruined that relationship. And so you start to think to yourself, man, maybe relationship's not for me. Maybe I should just be single. Maybe God is telling me I'm a terrible person and nobody will ever be with me. But these are the things that you start to tell yourself. But remind you, the definition of adversity is difficulties or misfortunes. And a lot of times difficulties and misfortunes lead to correction. So whenever you go through things, don't look at it as God is trying to keep you away from that thing. He's telling you that it's a few things about yourself that we need to correct in order for you to get this blessing and this fullness. Because I want to ask you something. Has it ever been a time when you felt like God was holding you back from something, but you took it upon yourself to just go ahead and jump right into that thing, and as soon as you did it, it failed completely? That's because you didn't go through that correction phase, that adversity part of the journey. If you look at what you're doing like a journey instead of a race, and you stop comparing yourself to the people around you, you would take adversity, like you would start to pray for it, like I started to do. Because when you're in a journey, you want to make sure that you're not moving super fast. You just want to make sure you're moving calculated. So you can be looking at people around you and it looks like they're moving pretty fast and it looks like what they're doing is producing better than what you're producing. And so you like, man, nah, this can't be what I'm supposed to be doing, because in my head, execution looks like this, but what I'm doing is nowhere near execution. But how do you get there though? You think they woke up one day and was super good and everything was super perfect? They had to go through those same steps. That's why they say comparison is a thief of all joy, because you're comparing somebody that's on step 10 to yourself and you haven't even gotten to step 2. It's no way impossible that you're going to be a step 10 on day 1. But if you keep showing up even through the adversity, you will get to that day 10. You will get to that year 10. And then there's going to be people around you who looking at you like, man, I'm trying to be just like that. And then you can tell them like, it's all a process. It's all a process. You're going to go through difficult times. You're going to go through challenges, but it's all for correction. It's all for that correction. Those difficulties and misfortunes are all for your own correction. And so I tell you guys a quick story about myself, because I had to learn adversity early. Like I started the content creation, I started the entrepreneurship a long time ago when a lot of people wasn't doing it. And so in the beginning, man, I wanted to tell all my friends about it. I wanted to tell all my friends about what I was doing. And when you a brand new entrepreneur and you coming from a lane where people know you as something else and you try to hop into something different, they look at you like, man, what you got going on, bro? Is this a scam? And so I used to get a lot of that. I used to get, man, is it a scam? He's scamming people. Oh, he doing a pyramid scheme. I used to get that so much. And it used to just like get to me. It used to get under my skin. And I was really trying to help people, really trying to put people on to what I was doing. Man, I felt like God was telling me to go get all these people and just show them what I was doing. But through that, he taught me something. He taught me a few things. The first thing that he taught me was this. Familiarity breeds contempt. And so all those people that knew me, they looked at me as something different because that's what they just was used to. So you don't have to get too hung up on yourself with that. Another thing he taught me was this. This is a part of entrepreneurship. This is a part of life. Everybody's not going to support you in the beginning. Everybody's not going to stop what they're doing to come see what you got going on. You just have to continue to race, and eventually those people will start to come on and try to see what you got going on. And that's exactly what happened. I stood the test. I continued to go into my entrepreneurship journey. I just blocked out all the hate, everything that people were saying, and I kept going on what I knew was truth. I kept going with what I knew God was pulling me to do. And so I had to strengthen my muscle to do that, though. You got to strengthen that faith muscle when you're going through that, because it was difficult for me to do that. These people that claim they love you, people that say, oh, we boys to the end, they won't even come check out what you got going on. You know what that does to a person? That makes you start, like the enemy starts to use adversity against you when God is using it to build you up. That's how the enemy works. So whatever God puts in your face to make you better, the devil will try to use it to make you feel low about yourself. So God is using this adversity as like a stop sign, like, hey, son, I know you want to get over to this other side, and I want you to go over to this other side. But it's a few mistakes you made along the way, and these are the corrections you need to go back and make, and we can try this again. But when you hit that roadblock and you start listening to the enemy, he starts to say, man, why you even try to start this? Why you even go down this? You know you're not an entrepreneur. You know your family not going to support you. Nobody ever will. You might as well stop right now and go back and don't focus on doing that. Go back to that job that you was working at. You know that job is familiar. You may have been struggling, but man, go. That's where you was good at. You was good right there at that level. You stay where you are. But why does the enemy do that? He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He's killing your future plans. He's destroying what God is trying to build through you. And he's trying to steal the vision right from underneath your feet. But if you allow the devil to do that, then you will go back and you'll start to say things to yourself like, man, I'm not worthy. Man, I'm not good. Like, I don't even want to try this. You start to get real anxious. But that's why you have to be in your word and know exactly what God is using his adversity for. He's using difficulties and misfortune as correction. He's not using it to tell you this isn't for you. He's telling you, hey, man, if you really want this, I want it for you, but you got to really, really want it more for yourself, because whatever you have in your head, like if you want this life right here and this is how big you want it, God wants this for you. So remember that. So if you feel like you want it this bad, like, and this is a lot of, like, this bad is a lot for people. Like, this, I want it this bad, but God wants it this bad for you. He might use it as correction, but he might use adversity to bring you closer to him, right? Because a lot of times you do have people who are really good. They're talented. They can hop into something and be great from the start. But God might also use that as a humbling experience as well. Because when you get too high on yourself and you feel like can't nobody touch you, you start to take the glorification away from God and putting it all on yourself. That's how I used to be. Real cocky, real arrogant. Man, I got this. I'm moving like it's all me. Not knowing there's somebody waking you up in the morning, giving you the ability to even walk or speak in this arrogance. God is giving you the ability to speak in arrogance. to move how you want to move. And so when you get too big on that, he gonna send you through some difficulties or misfortunes just to humble you. So you can be like, God, okay, let me remember who I'm doing this for. Let me remember who's giving me the power to do it. It's been many times where I was falling on my own ways, and it was working. It was working for a long time, and then I run into a roadblock. Boom. And then I'm like, man, okay, let me get back up. Go again, run to a roadblock. Boom. And so I'm like, okay, God, let me see what you're trying to tell me. All right, humble myself. Okay, lead with you first. Okay, this is all for you. This has nothing to do with me. But all that goes back to correction. So he's not using his difficulties or misfortunes to tell you to stop what you're doing, turn around. He wants to see how bad you want it. He wants to see if you're going to become who you need to be in order to fulfill this dream that you have in your head, that he planted in your head. He plants these seeds because he knows it's going to mold you and shape you into a totally different person. I'm talking about a person that loves fully aware of why they're doing this. The impact is going to change nations. That's what God wants you to do. Change the speech. Change you. It all goes back to why you're doing it. And if you're doing it for selfish gains, you're going to run into a roadblock. So this message today comes from James 1, 2 through 6. Give you guys a few seconds to get to it as I get to it myself. And it says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. So what is that saying? Right off the gate, God is saying, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters. Consider it pure joy. Like, it's joy. Like, this is something good, right? So it's not, adversity isn't bad. It's something good. He's saying, consider it pure joy. So that same feeling you get when you see your favorite cousin is the same feeling you need to get when adversity comes. He says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. So it doesn't matter what adversity it is. Trials of many kinds. It says, goes on in 3 to say, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. So whenever you go through adversity and it's testing your faith, God wants to see if you're going to keep going because it's going to help you persevere. So at this point, he's saying, you consider it pure joy because you know that the testing of your faith. So it's testing your faith. God is telling you to your face. He's saying it's going to test your faith, meaning it's going to see whether you're going to keep going or go backwards. What you're going to do. It's going to test your faith. But if you stand the test, it produces perseverance. The more you do something, the more it produces a better result. So if you stand the test, the more perseverance you will gain. And it says, and 4, let perseverance finish its works so that you may be mature and complete and lacking nothing. So what is that saying? When you're going through these trials, it's correction. When you're going through this adversity, consider it pure joy so that you can lack nothing. So it's saying God is trying to build you up through these adverse times so that you can be complete and lacking nothing. So when you finally get into that relationship that you've been praying for, that you've been doing the work for, you've been exercising and you've been getting your body right, you've been getting your mind right, you've been getting good with God. And so once you get through all that and he finally bless you, you'll be able to keep it. You'll be lacking nothing. You'll be complete. You'll be mature. When you finally get that business that you've been wanting, when you finally get that building, you will know how to operate the building. You will know how to hire employees. You will be lacking nothing. You've stood the trial. You stood the test. You've persevered. This is a journey. He's not going to give you everything all at once. When God blesses you with something all at once, or when you go outside of the mission that God has for you, it leads to destruction. It leads to another person down in the dumps. God wants you to lack nothing. when you get to that finish line. I want you lacking nothing. Because even if you're lacking something, your employees are gonna feel it. Even if you're lacking somewhere, your relationship will feel it. Even if you're lacking something, the content you put out, the audience will be able to feel it. You want to lack nothing. You want to be complete, mature, lacking nothing. So you have to stand the correction. You have to stand the test. You have to go through adversity. You have to go through difficulties and misfortunes. It goes on to say in 5, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. So what is it saying? If you lack the knowledge or the ability to keep going through adversity, you have to ask God, God, please help me through adversity. Help me to get to the other side. Help me to keep going even when difficulty comes my way, even when the adversity comes at an unfamiliar face. If it comes as a person, God, help me to try to combat that, to get over it. Just pray. Whatever it is, ask God to deliver you from it, and he will be right there. You'll be lacking nothing. Consider it pure joy when you go through adversity. Man, it got to a point I started praying for adversity. That's a part of my prayer. God, bless me with adversity so that I can become the person I need to be. God, bless me with adversity so that I can become closer to you, more like you, lacking nothing, God. Show me difficult times so I can get through them, because I started to know how God works. Difficult times, you get better. Another difficult time, you get better. Another difficult time, you get better. So this is what most people do. This is what the enemy tries to do. Difficult time, you fall. Difficult time, you fall. Difficult time, you fall. Difficult time. And you slowly start to go back to the person that you once was, because you didn't consider it pure joy. You let the enemy sneak into your mind and start to tell you things that wasn't true. Start telling you wasn't worthy. Start to telling you that's not what God called you to do. If God is putting it on your mind, he wants you to fulfill that vision. It doesn't matter what you have to go through to fulfill that vision. You have to get with him, and y'all going to be walking side by side. Consider it pure joy. Adversity is a blessing. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to another Word Wednesday. You guys stay tuned for the next episode, because we only getting better.